Welcome to Blue Rise.
Hello.
Weekly home for everything Birmingham City. I'm Ellen Ellard.
My name is Richie Driss. Thank you for joining us.
And tonight we have another packed show, from our new club captain, Christoph Klarer, to a one-on-one with Tom Huddlestone, plus stadium updates, behind-the-scene features, and all the reaction to a busy week of matches.
And in the latest club news,
Lewis Koumas has signed from Liverpool, a highly sought-after young talent, adding energy and creativity to the squad.
Tuesday night's Carabao Cup game saw the biggest crowd of the evening. Incredible support from each and every single one of you.
Yeah, huge effort. And this weekend brings Chris Davies back to Leicester, where it all began all those years ago.
Plus, Chris sits atop of the table, the managers with the highest points per game records in the top 4 tiers. Chris Davies sits on top with 2.40, ahead of Pep Guardiola on 2.30, Arne Slot on 2.23 and Scott Parker on 2.13.
Long may it last, and with the transfer window heading into its final week, there is still talk of reinforcements. With a growing squad though, departures may also be needed to make space. But now we're joined by our pitchside pundits, Will Brazier, Tommy Mooney. Great to have you with us as always, adding colour, commentary and charisma to our analysis all season long on Blues Plus.
Yes, it was a disappointing night on Tuesday night, but let's kick things off with our match against Oxford on Saturday.
Klarer looking to pick out Willemsen, and despite a touch from Dembele, it's reached the Icelandic international, and he slips through Kyogo, and Kyogo puts it wide of the mark. Play brought to a standstill as Gray whips it to the penalty area. Kyogo's there, lifts it over the bar. Well, he just ghosted in Kyogo. It's a delightful ball from Demarai Gray to find him. It's fallen for Laird. Laird now charging down the left-hand side. Ethan Laird towards the byline, pulls the ball back. There's Peck, and there's the opening goal. Ethan Laird instrumental again, charged towards the byline. The pullback was towards Peck, and he did the rest. A sweeping finish into the bottom corner. And Rowett's resilient use valiant, and there won't be time for anything else, because the full-time whistle blows at St Andrews.
Well, Tommy, lots of anticipation going into that game. It's 3 points, importantly. What did you make of the 90 minutes?
Yeah, I think when you look back on it, the win is the most important thing at the end of the day. It was a reasonable performance. I'm sure that Chris Davies would have wanted things finishing off a little bit better in front of goal, more goals, and looking a little bit more assured at the back. But however, it is a home win. So you push on. When in the early stages of the season, that's all you can do, is certainly win your home games. If you pick up points on the road, then that's a huge bonus. But for me, another great atmosphere, which we fully expect, don't we?
There's been a variety of sort of matches in the league so far. Of course, unlucky against Ipswich, and then that incredible win against Blackburn. This was a very different sort of match against very different sort of opposition.
Yeah, very much similar to last season, I thought. I think going into the game, we sort of discussed that, didn't we? And especially knowing Gary from the time at Blues and how pragmatic he is with his sides, I think we knew what performance was going to be, very similar to last year in League One, where those teams sat behind the ball. I thought Oxford came to play a lot more than I thought, especially in them early goings. Will Lancashire, I thought, had a few good opportunities and moments in and around the box, but I think ultimately the quality proved, and obviously, there should maybe have been a few more goals before we eventually got the goal from Paik. But a very Blues-like performance now, but an unlike Blues performance maybe from in the past, where we're just so resilient, get the results and get the 3 points in.
Of course, touching on it there, Tommy, is the lack of converting the chances concerning you at all?
It has to concern you, because some of them are clear-cut chances. But, and I've said it several times before, the time to worry is when you're not creating chances. You can't win games if you don't create chances. Never beat a striker up for missing chances, because he's putting himself in front of a full house to try and score goals for your team. So I would always say, as part of the centre forwards union, stick with it, get behind him. This fellow will score goals.
And they are proving, Blues, to be a team that can, like last season, find goals from everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, even the way those goals come about, Ethan Laird, well, I say filling in at left back, he's already making that position his own, driving down that left-hand side to pull it back for Paik. I just think he's been one of the sort of real standout performers in terms of this Chris Davies, not only team, but this squad of, stepping up when those positions become available. But yeah, I think Damari Gray, I think the admins put us together a lovely little montage of some of his touches with Matt Delaney's lovely groans in the background. The quality's on show as well as the hard work, and I think, like Tom says, as the fitness grows, those performances and quality will just keep growing and growing.
From a solid performance on Saturday to a disappointing one on Tuesday night as the Blues faced Port Vale under the lights at St Andrews.
If he doesn't head that, then Erin Cashin's got a free header.
It's a lovely ball in field to right for the delivery from Curtis into that 6-yard box. Beadle this time was strong. Gordon helps it back in for Port Vale, and it's flicked away by Lyndon Dykes, and Port Vale really threatening from these corner kick situations, and here they are in the second phase of one. Whip back across the 6-yard box, and Port Vale have the breakthrough. Jaheim Headley heading in point blank inside the 6-yard box to stun St Andrews. Back into the near post, dealt with at the near post by Garrity, the captain. Cochrane will whip it back into the penalty area. Port Vale haven't dealt with it convincingly. There's Cashin! Referee with a glance at the watch. And there's the full-time whistle.
I think disappointment is the right word, Tommy. It's a game that I think a lot of Blues fans were excited for, with the prospect of going through to the third round of the Cup, but not meant to be this time round.
No, and I would always say that the Carabao Cup is an opportunity, not a distraction. But now we're out of it. Yeah, started the game well. Set pieces, they're always a danger, and we paid the cost of it. Yes, we perhaps hesitated to defend the second ball into the box, but nevertheless, it's one of those games we just couldn't create chances. We've talked about missing them. We couldn't create chances.
With so much rotation to the starting lineup last night, does that maybe potentially worry you then going on to lose to a team that's in the league below and maybe shows Chris Davies that there's an opportunity to strengthen?
I think 10 changes. We spoke so much about how the rhythm's so good for the first 11. 10 changes is a massive one. 3 new signings within that. I think the gaffer was speaking last night about wanting to see those players get the minutes in the legs, which is important. But yeah, I think he'll learn about some of the players, and some of those changes were premeditated, weren't they, after 45?
There is no more cup games. It's just championship games now till January. So you don't have that midweek fixture where you can make changes
and experiment a little bit.
Perhaps next time it would be tweaked instead of whole-scale changes, but you don't have that opportunity. So let's get our head around it. It's the championship.
And also, I think it's the mentality under even as fans that we have to get used to of trying to win every game. And I think you could see the manager on the sideline getting angrier as the match went on, because he expects whether it's the first 11, the second 11, he expects the same.
Does it temper some expectations? Because of course, I think watching Blues step up in the manner that they did to the Championship after record-breaking season in League One, there's lots of excitement, but these defeats, performances like this will come.
Like Tom, I just think it's Port Vale in the Cup, 10 changes, 3 new signings, we move on. Leicester Friday, back on the bandwagon, get it going.
In the Championship, we're playing teams, Leicester's a prime example of it. They'll come at us, which opens up the counter-attack for us. We had no opportunities of counter-attacks when you're at home to Port Vale, because they'll play solid. Some of the smaller teams in the Championship, we've seen it dozens of times at St Andrews and Knighthead Park last season, where teams will just come and put 10 men behind the ball. It's about how you break them down. But when you're playing against the so-called better teams or the fancied teams in the Championship, they'll bring their game to you. And that opens up opportunities for Birmingham to go and use the ability, undoubted ability of the players that they've brought in to go and win more games.
On to the next one. Now we have a very challenging fixture away at Leicester to look forward to on Friday night before heading into the international break.
And that first break has come around very quickly indeed, meaning the Blues won't be back at St Andrews at Knighthead Park until the 20th of September.
Which at least gives our ground team a few weeks to put the final touches to our home turf in preparation for the winter months ahead. Yes, summer is almost over, but keeping the pitch looking like a carpet takes serious work, as I found out when I went behind the scenes with the ground staff to see how they prepare week in, week out. Chris Long, great to meet you, especially on a match day. You're head groundsman at Birmingham City Football Club.
Yep, head groundsman here at Knighthead St Andrews. Been here a couple of months now, so yeah, settling in well.
As I said, it's a match day, but I feel like this isn't a regular Monday to Friday 9 to 5, is it?
No, absolutely not. We started at 7 o'clock this morning. We'll probably be here till midnight tonight. So yeah, it's definitely not your 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job.
How much does your role integrate with Chris Davis, first team coaches, first team players as well?
Pitch testing, like what you've seen Paul doing today, that'll all get sent straight back to sports science now. So the sports science and the players will be able to analyse that and decide what footwear they want to use. It's important we have a really good relationship with all the management.
What can you tell us about just how in-depth with regards to the science you get?
So basically what we need to do is we need to collaborate as clear as we can with the training ground for the men at Epic. So we try and replicate both pitches to a similar standard. So obviously when the first team are coming in here, what they've been training on all week, it kind of reflects here as well. A hardness to firmness test, which is obviously how firm the surface is. We do what you see Paul's just done there. That's the rotational traction, so that's putting a boot in on a plate, turning to make sure for when the players are turning, see what impact it has on your knees and ankles. You'll never mirror like for another pitch because you've got different environments and different routines, but we aim to get it as close as we can to the training ground. Yeah.
So at half time, when you guys are doing your thing in the background, television cameras and fans just see you going up and down the pitch
with the sticks, with the divot sticks. That is just literally replacing anywhere where there's been a slide tackle or fast feet for the player. And it's just kicked out a little bit and it's left a little rut. We just then go and tap it and try and level that surface back up so it's not going to create any problems going into the second half.
As fascinating as this is, I feel like it's extended by some of the stories that you may have that no one would ever suspect. Apparently there was an incident with a fox recently.
Foxgate, yes.
Foxgate,
So we had, when we played Solihull Moors in the friendly game, we had a head injury, which left blood on the pitch. On Monday morning, we come in through Arthur's area there, and there was just a huge gaping hole and sandpit where the head injury were. They obviously got a scent of the blood. Yeah, so my heart dropped considerably because we got the Forest game on the Saturday. Tidied it up. 2 days later, they come back and dug it up again.
No.
Yeah. So we had to
put snipers everywhere.
It was thought of, yeah. And we ended up going with a slice of carpet turf, a thick, like plastic carpet with fibres woven into it, to replicate a stitch pitch like what we've got. And I think, touch wood, we've got over the issue.
Now, obviously, sprinklers have just come on.
Yep.
Under your orders. When we're off camera, quick, get the sprinklers on. We can only obviously see your beautiful green carpet and those wonderful white lines, but there's a hell of a lot that goes on underneath that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're seeing probably, I'd say around 25-30% is what you can see from here, from the stands on the cameras. You know, the rest of it, what matters is underneath.
Right.
Keeping the plant happy, keeping it clean. Yeah, it's a lot more than just putting a mower over it and cutting it, yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about patterns on the pitch, because it fascinates me and I can see them clear as day from here. How do you go about doing that? How do you go about deciding what patterns and?
So so basically this pattern that you see now is just a box standard checker plate one, chessboard look, and you get your light and your dark stripes, and basically all it is, it's just mowing the grass in different directions. So a light stripe, as you can see, going down into the 6-yard box, we mow from here, mow down that way, and the one outside the 6-yard box is coming up, and that is basically all it is. It's as simple as that.
But in theory, you could get our very own Will Brose's face mown into the lawn.
If you give me a decent picture and a stencil, we can brush it in. Yeah, that's something we could do.
You have been awarded Groundsman of the Year twice, correct?
Correct.
Premier League and Championship.
2 very proud moments to win it, yeah.
Definitely,
really good.
Definitely. And that's just another example of how Knighthead are investing in the best of the best to push for the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you see what's happening here at Birmingham and like you said, what they are investing in on the pitch, and they're backing me and the lads as a team to produce, it's fantastic, yeah.
Genuinely fascinating stuff.
So
they are the unsung heroes of every match day.
Yeah, and speaking of the pitch, we love getting updates on what's happening behind the scenes with the new stadium. And if you haven't already had a good look on YouTube, here are the major highlights from the man everyone wants to hear from, Nick Smith.
From a player's perspective at the training centres, we've put in a whole new indoor artificial pitch, upgraded some of the car parking areas and fitness equipment, nutrition stations. We've upgraded all the branding.
Well, the whole statue, it's designed to be impressive as you walk into the stadium, which I think it absolutely achieves. But the whole statue is 4.2 meters tall. So, it's a life-size replica of Trevor Francis.
in our cop boxes, we have redecorated with painting, we've added new lighting and ceilings, put carpet to make it feel a little bit more premium. So this provides a much better match day experience for our box holders. And so now we've kind of rebranded the room, redecorated it, but this creates that kind of first tier of hospitality and has a real, lovely feel to it, which we've kind of pulled through in a number of the decoration areas that we've done. Calling ours the Jewel absolutely fits what we're trying to achieve here in terms of the quality and the premiumness. We've got our new logo. This has just gone in, so you're the first to see it. Across the whole Jewel lounge, we've just added some lovely features. So new lighting, some gold touches to the ceiling, improved acoustics, new wallpaper, some beautiful wood paneling around the bottom. We've added curtains into the Jewel to help us achieve acoustic protection, and then secondly is to also just make it feel a bit warmer and a bit more intimate in the space. So that's a bit on the stadium architect and design, and then on the rest of the sports quarter we've got about 80 people, 80 consultants working on land acquisition, master plan design, sustainability, technology, planning. Clearly there's just so many facets to the development of the sports quarter. It's a huge project, and those continue at pace. We're through the first phase of the master plan. We're working very closely with the Birmingham City Council. We're working very closely with the transport various authorities in terms of how we plan for the funding that's been given from national government. So a number of work streams that have been going in parallel, whilst kind of progressing much faster on the stadium design and architect competition. We're excited. The players have had investment into their areas. The fans have got an uplift in redecoration in a lot of the stadium, both from general admission and bars, and a nice refresh in the hospitality areas. We've uplifted as well. The fan parks are looking good, and everybody will come and see the new statue. Lots of great merchandise in the shop. So everything's all set for a wonderful season. Everybody's super excited in the stadium. All the staff and seeing the players out of the training ground. Everybody's just ready to go and just to feel the St Andrews and Knighthead Park and Blues atmosphere again.
Always great to see the progress, and plenty more to come on that front over the weeks ahead.
Yeah, definitely leaving no stone unturned in the drive to make Blues a Midlands powerhouse. And speaking of stones, one of the biggest to roll into the club last season was assistant first team coach Tom Huddlestone.
Very good indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tom joined Birmingham City in September of last year, bringing Premier League and international experience to Chris Davies' staff. And he went out with our very own Tommy Mooney to join Tommy on one of his favourite pastimes on the local links.
A few practice swings before we get going, boys. Shall I go first? Ugly mugs first? Is it one of those?
Age before beauty.
Like that.
Yeah, good shot.
So Tom, tell us how it all started for you, how you became so quickly into the first team at such a young age.
I think obviously timing and opportunity a lot of the time. The club had come down from the Premier League to the Championship. So my last year at school, I was having Thursday mornings off school to train with the first team and playing reserve games. So I'm playing against seasoned Championship players who, one of the first games, Derby v Forest, Des Walker and Wes Morgan were the back two, so yeah. It was like proper players that are playing.
Yeah. So getting to Spurs, I mean there's some players in that team, isn't there? Yeah. When Modric, Bale, during your time, yeah. What was that like for you?
No, I signed in January to go in the summer. I was thinking I'm miles off this because I was playing centre back at the time. We had Freddie Canute, Mido, Defoe, Keane, and I was playing against like the fifth striker, who was Lee Barnard. And in training, his movement was, I was thinking, I'm not quite out for this level. Never mind playing against the other four.
So then you go on to Hull. The coaching that you're doing now, was there thoughts of coaching as you approached your mid to late 20s?
Towards the end of my time at Hull the first time, we had Marco Silva for 6 months. Yeah. And I think how detailed he was with everything. gave me the appetite to want to like move into a second career within coaching and managing, because I thought he was excellent for the 6 months we had him.
Your first season at Birmingham, I mean, it's almost a year now since you've been at the club. Doesn't get much better than first seasons at a club, does it?
Having played at St Andrews down the years, you know exactly the size of the club, the atmosphere that day was incredible. And then, yeah, you can see the direction the club's going in. So, one, it was a no-brainer to join when I was offered the opportunity. The manager every day demands 100% off the players, same as off the staff as well, to be fair. And I think that's why we got to 111 points in the end, which is...
Yeah, it's a fabulous season, isn't it? So tell us, we've talked about your playing days, your coaching. What's the aspirations for you going forward?
I think I would maybe regret it if I get into my mid-50s maybe and not having a crack at being a manager. But there's been a lot of managers that have maybe made that step too soon. So I'm in no rush and I'm happy to keep building the foundations. I'm in the perfect environment to learn off a new but a great manager and good coaching staff around me. So,
well, fingers crossed. You've certainly won on the golf today. Let's hope you keep winning on the pitch this season.
No, I appreciate it.
Thanks very much for your time, Tom.
No, likewise.
Really enjoyed it.
Tommy, that was lovely chat. I didn't see much in the way of golf though.
Yeah, that was a bonus. I have to say the editor's been very, very kind to us, both Tom and I. But no, we had a wonderful couple of hours. Weather was good, and the insight that Tom gave us there, really open and honest, and certainly you can see his enthusiasm for the stage in his career that he's at now. So yeah, really nice afternoon.
And what a career he had, and what a presence as well he brings to the coaching team.
Definitely. And speaking of leadership, here's the man wearing the armband this season, Christoph Klarer.
Big Chris, thanks for joining me. As we sit here, you're just over a year into life at the football club. You've just been announced as club captain, which is obviously a big moment. First of all, for you, what makes a good leader?
I think as a leader, you have to lead by example, do things right every single day. You can't just show up when it fits you. You got to do it every single day. And I think everyone can lead when things are going well. So I think the real leadership comes out when things aren't going so well, and that's when people need to look up to you, and you need to make sure you're there when your teammates need you.
Mm-hmm. I think I've gotten to know you fairly well over the past 12 months. I would describe you as sort of hyper professional, that like intense winner, someone who comes in and takes his job seriously. Is that a fair assessment of who you are?
Yeah, I think so. Because ultimately, I'm trying to achieve big goals here. I know it can be intense sometimes, but that's just part of myself, part of my character. But I think we've got a good group here, so we all know what we're working for, and so I don't have to be grumpy and angry all the time. But when it comes out, it comes out. So that's just part of myself.
And when it kicks off on the pitch, and there's a bit of a fracas, and there's a bit of argy-bargy between ourselves and the opposition, if you're not first on the scene, you're a close second. Is that just instinctive, you know, whether you're captain or not, whether you have the armband on or not, just to race in and be there to protect your teammates?
Yeah, I think whenever something does happen on the pitch, we try to stick together as much as possible. I think that kind of represents us as a team and us as a football club, that we stick together. That's just the nature of myself, to be in and around and protect my teammates. But I think whenever one of us is in trouble, I think there's a few to follow very quickly.
Mm. Not many players though stick up for their fan base, and that was sort of what happened against Ipswich on that opening day. You know, obviously the equaliser goes in, which is a big sting at the end of the game. Then the ball gets booted into the Tilton, and you're the first one to sort of see it and acknowledge it. Is that what goes through your head? Is it just a split second, you've seen it happen, you're racing because you're not happy about what went on?
Yeah, I think the whole thing with us conceding very late to us, I think we can all agree, a very controversial penalty decision. So yeah, I'm not sure if it was deliberate or not, but I just saw the ball getting kicked into our stand, and yeah, what happened after is obviously not ideal. We tried to avoid it at all costs, but I think it just happened. No one got hurt, so yeah, we can move on from that.
But I think these things make you a good fit for the club. You often find players who are good fits for particular football clubs. Birmingham City is that blue-collar, working-class, hard, gritty football club and fan base. Is that something that resonates with you? Do you sense that as a player since you've joined?
Yeah, I think I've gotten to know the club quite well and know what the club stands for, what kind of people it represents from all classes. So I see myself as a hard working player. Maybe I'm sure there's some better players technically in this team. There's some players that are nicer to watch on the eye, but I do think that I represent the club quite well in the values that I've got. So yeah, like I said, I just try to do the best that I can every single day here at the training ground, and then especially when it comes to game time.
Well, Tommy, always great to hear from Christoph Klarer. We spoke a lot about him at the tail end of last season and just how important and integral he was to the leadership on the pitch and making St Andrews at Knighthead Park a real fortress.
He was just solid throughout, wasn't he? Solid guy,
yeah. Solid
centre-back, solid leader. And you certainly you don't just need one of those. I'm sure there's 3 or 4 of them in the dressing room, but he's got the armband, he's been pushed forward. Chris Davies is players' representative to go and lead the team. So it's a huge honour for somebody so young as well. When you look at him and watch him play, you don't realise how young man he is. So yeah, fantastic season for him last year. Lifting the trophy at the end of a season is always a big bonus, isn't it? So yeah, looking forward to seeing how he copes with the championship.
And he's just so experienced already at this level. You forget he's only been here a year, and the impact he's had on this club. I think the biggest sort of congratulations you can give him was that when the captain armband got given to him, it was no surprise to anyone really, was it? Everyone sort of expected it, and just the presence he brings, not only that, but to the person playing next to him, whether it was Ben Davis last year, whether it was Bielik filling in. I mean, he's only played with Phil Neumann 3 competitive, or maybe 3 or 4 games, but that feels like a partnership already, and he just brings that. He just absolutely oozes class, but then he'll stick his head in everywhere, head anything, a brick wall, he'll do that, and he's just absolutely fantastic to have as a centre-back.
Next up, though, our attention turns to a big clash Friday night away at Leicester City, and a huge night as well for manager Chris Davies, back at the club where it all began. First as a youth team coach, then in a hugely successful stint as assistant to Brendan Rodgers, 2 5th-place finishes in the Premier League, as well as that famous FA Cup win.
Gentlemen, how do you see this playing out?
Yeah, obviously it's a difficult game. On paper, it's a difficult game. Thankfully, we don't play it on paper, do we?
No, we don't.
Often,
I try to, actually, but they say it doesn't count, which is a bit annoying.
Apparently not, but it'll be a tough game. But I think on the back of the Port Vale result, they'll want to get playing straight away, and it's a day sooner on a Friday night. And I always think you get a great atmosphere in an evening game. I know we do at St Andrews at Knighthead Park, certainly. Leicester will be exactly the same. The build-up pre-kick-off at Leicester is excellent, not as good as ours, but it's still very good. It'll build everybody up. You know, it's a big game. As far as the championship concerned, Leicester versus Birmingham is a big game, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually doing core comms, which I'm delighted about.
As Tom said earlier, for the other points, as much as Port Vale sort of sat back in a little bit, Leicester are at home and are going to have expectations to win. So especially with that quality of Damari Gray sort of returning back to the club where he won the Premier League, and some of those, I mean, if Kumas starts or he can come off the bench, I think those sort of counter-attacks are going to be really sort of maybe where we can have a bit of success, especially with the way Kyogo and Stansfield have been playing, pressing that back line as well. I just think, just with this team, it can come from all over. Like, who would have thought, we keep banging on about Ethan Laird at left back, making those marauding runs coming into the box. So I think on the counter-attack, it's going to be quite crucial, and just it's interesting because, I mean, this show's called Blue Rising. The Blues are on the rise. Leicester maybe a little bit on the other way with everything that's going on in their club, but just there's an expectation for them to win on Friday night at home, and I think that will play very nicely into our hands.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Cannot wait for Friday night. Bring it on. And that is it for this week's Blue Rising. A mixed week for sure, with the Oxford win and Carabao Cup disappointment, and a massive trip to Leicester to look forward to.
Thank you for joining us. It is the international break next week. How quickly has that come around? And also the start of the WSL 2 season. So our focus will be on our women's team as they gear up for the start of their new season.
Cool. We'll see you then. Take care.